Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to the segment of Coach Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. We begin our recitation today from a composition called Gujri Ki War Mahalla Tija, Sikandar Birahim Ki War Ki Tuni Gauni. A war is a ballad, if you will, composed by the third Guru, Guru Amar Das. And there is a particular tune to which this folk ballad has been recommended that it be sung. And it is a ballad regarding Sikandar and Birahim, which is one of the old folk stories. The recitation of the war, a war, usually consists of one, two, or multiple saloks, followed by a pauri. So in this one, there are two saloks, followed by the pauri. Typically, the pauri is the spiritual message. The salok introduces the issue and amplifies the pauri. And very typically, the gist of the message is in the last lines of the pauri, generally speaking. So the recitation first. Ik oankar Satguru Prasadi Salok Mahalla Tija, eh Jagat Mamata Mua Jeevan ki Bidnahi, Gur ke paane jo challa ta jeevan padvi paahe. ओए सदा सदा जन जीवते जो हर चरणी चित लाहे नानक नदरी मन वसै गुरमुख सहज समाय. So this is the first salok in which the Guru says that the world is spiritually dead because of attachment to worldly things. And as a result, they do not understand the way of living a true life. And the way to walk the true life is to follow the guidance of the Guru. Guru ke paane jo chale tin jeevan padvi paaye. And they who follow the Guru's instruction live forever. Oye sada sada jan jeevate. Well, living forever means that they are now centered in their source, which is eternal. Har charani chitalai, that their minds are now attuned to the self within, which is eternal. And so, Nanak Nadari Manavase Gurumukh Sahaj Samay, the grace of the Guru, because you followed the instruction, the self comes to dwell within. So, the key here is to understand that attachment to material possession in a society like ours, what it does is it leads us to equate success and happiness with what we own, possession. But the Guru warns us that this possessiveness creates a desire, creates a cycle of constant desire. Because when people measure their worth by what they own, they are never satisfied. And so this craving leads to a feeling of dissatisfaction, of anxiety. And the same thing applies to relationships. When one is very possessive in relationships, whether with family, friends, romantic partners, what have you, it leads to jealousy, to control and conflict, and that diminishes genuine love, mutual respect, trust. Because now, in our possessiveness, we are treating others as possessions rather than respecting their autonomy and individuality. So it breaks down human relations. It breaks down your spiritual connection because you're now attached to the ego, which is possessive. It thrives on possessiveness. It leads to a lack of humility, compassion, and a sense of oneness with others. And this excessive possessiveness, if you were to expand this to a global scale, leads to hoarding by a few. We already see that problem, where most of the wealth is in the hands of the few. You have a consumerism culture. A possessive mindset fuels consumerism. We see that all the time. All of this essentially stifles creativity, and it leads to anxiety. So this is a critique of a culture which places excessive value on ownership and control. So now in the second salok, he says, there is pain and doubt. The self struggles with the pursuit of and the burden of worldly pursuits. We are in love with duality, and it keeps us awake. And so we never really awaken. Namana chete sabad-a-day vichare, because we can't. But without doing this, their life is wasted. The spiritual consequences are being talked about here of worldly attachment. We become trapped in duality, ego, and that leads to inner turmoil. So spending a life bereft of wisdom is a life wasted. And in the Pauri, the message is, Apna aap upayan taddon hor na koi. The creator, the self, is the creator. So that is a hint to us that we are creators as a prototype, if you will. You're supposed to do the same thing. You have to really mold and shape the clay of your own existence. Mata masurat aap kare jo kare so hoi formulates its own plans. The self does, but it is a hint to you. You have to formulate your own plans. And whatever it wills comes to pass. Well, that has to happen at our level, personal level. Tadde akas na patal hai na tre loe, aap nirankar hai na upat hoye. It's talking about the origin. There was a pregnant void, and he created out of this pregnant void. That same pregnant void is within us. It is the self. It is pregnant with possibility. It is pregnant with potentiality. And we need the instruction of the Guru to be able to access it, how to materialize it. That is the challenge. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.